What's up, you guys? So, I had a few people message me regarding brain inflammation. Look at this hair. My hair is all crazy right now. I've been like rubbing my head. I've got this really awful left side headache. But I wanted to do this video before I get too tired and foggy. Um, so a lot of people were asking my experiences with brain inflammation, how it affects me, and some things that I do to maybe help with those symptoms. So, brain inflammation for me usually starts with a headache. Um, I don't know if you've ever been out in the heat for a really long time, but you know that like throbbing. So, that's usually what it starts out as. It starts out as a very painful throbbing and then progresses from there. Usually, it will impact my face to where like my eyes um I become very photosensitive to light, kind of like right now. Uh, um, I'll be more confused than normal. That's usually when I have really high brain inflammation. And then the other thing is like my body temperature. When my brain is inflamed, my face is hot, my head is hot, but more specifically like my brain, my skull, the whole thing is just like hot. But I don't have a fever when I take a temperature. It's like inside the brain. I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I usually run a low grade fever anyway, and I think my body's just kind of become immune to that. And that might be the reason why. I think I've been running an average of like 98 to 100 for the last year and a half, 2 years now. Um, So that's usually something, and a lot of times it gets misdiagnosed as like allergies or migraine disorders because when you have brain inflammation, it impacts your eyes and you get headaches and light sensitivity, which is all very indicative of migraine headaches. And for the longest time, I was misdiagnosed with migraine headaches and um, then it became worse. They were giving me all different kinds of medications that weren't making the migraines go away because it wasn't addressing the root cause of the inflammation in the brain. So, there's some research that shows that I believe minocycline and rifampin um, work well for brain inflammation, but I haven't taken those drugs. I'm on doxycycline and I've been on doxycycline for almost a year. Um, I will say that in the beginning, the doxycycline was really one of the biggest things that helped like jumpstart my system to break through a lot of the neurological crap that was going on in my brain. When I first started taking the doxycycline, I couldn't talk like at all. I had no speech. I had no ability to speak whatsoever. And within like, I think 2 or 3 months of taking doxycycline, my speech slowly started coming back. And I still have days where I trip over my words and I can't talk. But for the most part, my speech is starting to return to a normal state of being. So that's really good. Um, what else? I'm starting to get a little foggy. I'm sorry. Herbal things that you can use for brain inflammation. So I don't have my containers with me, they're in the refrigerator, but I'll tell you briefly what I use and maybe I'll make a separate video about that as well. So there's quite a few that I'm currently using that actually cross into the blood-brain barrier and help treat the neural Lyme and several different forms of the Lyme. One of them being, hello, every day. And she doesn't even care either. She's like, yep, I'm just here to try to stick my tongue in your nose. Um, So for the herbal things that I use for the neural Lyme, one of the biggest things is it's called cystis canis, if I'm saying it right. It's part of Dr. Klinghart's protocol too, and that's one of the reasons why my doctor started to prescribe it. Um, Not prescribe it because it's not a prescription, it's over the counter, but he did recommend that I start taking it. And that is one that still gets me. I have to like slowly taper up, and then depending on how I feel, I either stay there or I might taper back down altogether. Cystis canis gets really deep into my brain and stirs up the bugs that are in there, and it causes a lot of emotional neurological symptoms like anxiety and depression. When I first started treating Lyme a year and a half ago, and I started taking the cystis canis, it made me start having like auditory hallucinations. I was hearing things that people weren't actually saying, and that was kind of scary. So it took a while for me to adjust. I guess that was just like part of the side effects because I have the neurological side of Lyme. So, for those of you that are new to the party, it's complicated because you have a blood brain barrier, and when you have Lyme bacteria in your body for as long as I have, it ends up working its way into all your tissues. Well, your brain is essentially a giant tissue in your head. It's like that's what the organ is made out of. It's like it's a muscle tissue, and that's it's warm and it's damp, right? And so of course the bugs want to live there. The Borrelia bacteria, the Lyme bacteria, they're corkscrew shaped bacteria, and they like to spiral their way around. Well, I've had Lyme, you guys, for pretty much my whole life. And so it has had time to get its way into my bones, into my tissues, meaning my muscles, my brain. Um, and that's where a lot of my struggle comes from because it is in my brain. Your brain, I think we really take certain parts of our immune system and our bodies for granted. You don't really think about it when your brain is healthy that it controls literally everything. Going like this, my brain is telling my hand to do this, right? Scratch my nose, touch Gracie's nose. My brain is telling me to do this. And how scary is it when your brain suddenly tells your hand, stop working altogether? We're not going to work today. We're just going to lay there lifeless. This little girl, always up in my face, she wants to be the star of the show, but she never wants me to take her picture. Anyway, come on, Moosh. Come on, Moosh. You sit down. Um, So yeah, the cystis canis gets really deep into the brain, you guys, and it causes a lot of emotional herxing. So if you do decide to use that for brain inflammation, just be really, really careful. Like me, I started with 5 drops a day and then worked my way up every week. I would do like 5 drops a day every day for the first week, and then 10 drops, and then so on and so forth until I was up to 40 drops a day. And that's twice a day. So now I take 40 drops a day, twice a day. And I still struggle with the emotional herxing. It's getting better. Sorry. It's getting better and more manageable. But I can tell you, like, for the last 3, 4 months, I've been in this awful, wicked depression that has just left me in my bed crying almost all the time. And even still today, I have issues with depression where I will out of nowhere just like, oh, I've got to pull myself up out of it. Or I call my therapist or I go to a group meeting or something to just kind of keep my focus because life has a way of creeping up on you and making you feel terrible if you let it. So, what else? What else? Brain inflammation. I'm starting to get really foggy. So, and I'm late taking my meds today. I was supposed to take my meds at like 8 o'clock this morning. I didn't take them till 1:30 this afternoon. So I'm kind of like really not happy with myself. So yeah, cystis and canis, be careful with that one. Really strong stuff, but it works. Burbopanella, those of you that have Lyme are very familiar with burbopanella. It works great for brain inflammation. It works great for herxing, herx reactions, bringing those down. I guess it also helps with like nerves. I haven't seen that side of it because I have really bad Bartonella in my legs and in my feet. So, um, the nerve pain is pretty widespread throughout my whole body, and I have all different kinds of neuropathy and whatnot. Um, so the burbopanella does work really well for that, and then it also pairs well with something called sarsaparilla, which is basically like root beer extract. It tastes like root beer too, and that one's good because it's also antimicrobial and antifungal. So it's really good for the immune system. It goes after mycoplasma and all different kinds of good stuff. I have a bunch of other herbs in there too, and I think I'm going to make a separate video to go over that part of it for the herbs that I use. I will say that, if you have brain inflammation, I would seek out maybe guidance from a Lyme literate physician, or to make sure you do your own research. A lot of times people will treat brain inflammation like a headache. And my Lyme doctor told me that that's like one of the worst things that you can do, because what do you do when you have a headache? Well, you take some aspirin or you take ibuprofen or whatever and you go lay down. Well, that's only like relieving the symptom, it's not relieving the cause. And what ends up happening is you're not feeling the assault that's happening, but the Lyme bacteria are still doing the damage that they're doing. So it's about really maintaining your immune system to detox from the bacteria and the toxins that they're producing inside of your body. Um, so I'll definitely touch base a little bit more on that. I just wanted to put this out there for the people that messaged me asking about brain inflammation. I haven't forgotten about you guys. It has been a rough few days, just trying to get back on my feet. So I'm really foggy and I'm starting to ramble and lose my train of thought. I'm going to sign off for right now. But I'm going to pull out later today my tinctures and I'll go through those with you guys and um, some of the other things that I take too, so that are herbal and natural for brain inflammation. So, and this one is just the cutest thing ever. She does this all the time. She'll like slam her head um, right into my chest because she's getting like antsy. She wants me to pet her. It's not enough love in the whole wide world for this girl. All right, so I'm gonna go rest for now, and then I will see you guys later. Bye.